Earlier, it was announced by the Australian Defence Minister about the agreements with the United States government to acquire 75 MIA2 SEPV3 Abrams main battle tanks and associated vehicles through the United States FMS program for the Australian Armed Forces. The associated vehicles include 29 mine killer M1150 assault breacher vehicles, 18 armored bridge layers M1074 joint assault bridges, and 6 M88A2 Hercules armored recovery vehicles. The equipment is a part of the Australian Department of Defence program to modernize the fleet of main tanks, Land 907 Phase 2 and acquire armoured engineering vehicles, that is Land 8160 Phase 1. Deliveries of the M1A2 SEPV3 tanks to Australia is scheduled to begin by 2024, with initial operational readiness achieved in 2025. Australia shall produce the rounds for 120mm guns of M1A2 SEPV3 Abrams tanks. The M1A2 SEPV3 is the latest US Army Abrams tank modernization program, while the first 6 pre-production upgraded tanks of this modification were delivered to the US Army in October 2017. Deliveries of serially upgraded tanks M1A2C to the combat units of the US Army began in the early 2020s. Now, Australia may be the first foreign customer of the M1A2 SEPV3. It is not known if Poland has inked an agreement for 250 of these tanks. Poland may take the M1A2 SEPV3 tanks delivered by the end of 2022, but it is yet not confirmed. Currently, the M1A1 SA Abrams tanks are being operated by the Australian Army in the 3 armoured and armoured cavalry regiments. The 1st Armoured in Adelaide as part of the 1st Brigade, the 2nd Cavalry in Townsville as part of the 3rd Brigade, and 214 Light Horse Regiment in Brisbane as part of the 7th Brigade. Each regiment includes 1 tank squadron with a strength of 14 tanks. Each regiment also has 2 squadrons of ASLAV wheeled armoured personnel carriers, a headquarters squadron and a support squadron. The remaining tanks are used as training and reserve tanks at the Armoured School in Pakpunal and the Army Logistics Training Centre in Bandiana.